Good morning, everyone. It's Anika Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I wanted to talk to you again about the concept of virtues. Virtues, I love them, and I think most of us do. And many religions and spiritual traditions talk about virtues in various ways. And I found this beautiful quotation, which is by Aristotle, who is also one of my favorite philosophers. And the quotation says, "Neither by nature, then, nor contrary to nature, do virtues arise in us. Rather, we are adapted by nature to receive them and are made perfect by habit." So I'll say that again. "Neither by nature, then, nor contrary to nature, do the virtues arise in us. Rather, we are adapted by nature to receive them and are made perfect by habit." And this is interesting, right? Because it's talking about the habit of virtues. And I'm sure that you know some people who are really quite virtuous, or you notice certain habits that they do that you're really pleased by, or impressed by, or touched by. And then I thought, I wonder how many people really understand the concept of virtues in general, because I think we all kind of get the understanding of it. But I thought I'd give you the dictionary quotation, and that is virtues is a noun. Behavior showing high moral standards. Behavior showing high moral standards. And then examples of virtues, just so that you know, are attitudes, dispositions, or character traits that enable us to be and act in ways that develop this potential. They enable us to pursue the ideals we have adopted. Honesty, courage, compassion, generosity, fidelity, integrity, fairness, self-control, and prudence are examples of virtue. And this is interesting. Right now, I'm speaking with so many clients and certainly experiencing this, that there's a lot of people that have not practiced virtues. So even though we all admire them and find them honorable, and probably most of us think that we practice them, and we all do at some points and sometimes. And some people seem to be better. And sometimes people will look at other people's and say, oh, they're so much more genuine. They're so much more, what would be the word? Courageous, right? So all of these things were things that were part of virtues. And I love honesty. Now, honesty, where do people learn to be slightly dishonest? So I was thinking about this and contemplating on it. And, when we think about children growing up, and this has probably happened to all of us, we've probably experienced something like this, that, the phone rings and child picks up the phone and it's for a parent. And they tell the parent, hey, mom, dad, this phone call's for you. And the parent says, oh, it's probably telemarketing. Tell them I'm not here, or tell them they've got the wrong number, right? So that's simple. Then it might be someone that they actually know. So the child says, oh, it's so-and-so on the phone. It's like, oh, I don't want to speak with them, or I don't have time to speak with them right now. And these are simple things, right? Because it really, not everyone can speak with everyone at the same time, or at the times that another person wants to speak. But that's just a little touch of not totally truthful or honest experiences. And of course, kids get used to this idea. So now they might come home one day and say, yeah, I went to school, and they might not have. As they grow up, they might say, I finished my homework, and they might not have. And then eventually they might lie on a resume or say something not totally honest on a resume. And then they might tell a potential employer that they can do things that they haven't been trained to do. And then they can perhaps say things that are not so honest in a relationship. So all of these things just build up. And you can imagine that when someone has had practice with saying something not so honest, it becomes a little bit easier and easier and easier. And in that, oftentimes is when marital disputes can happen, relationship concerns can happen, because someone is practicing something that they have practiced for a while and has become very normal for them. And so today I thought I would remind you that virtues can become very natural and normal for us if we practice them. So I read you the list, and I'd love for you to sit down for 5 minutes today and just think about what kind of virtuous acts could I partake in to actually define who I am, because this is important to me. And it's interesting that I never actually thought that people needed practice with these things. I always thought that doing good came kind of naturally to all of us, or we all know that we can. But it really does take practice. I am very impressed with this idea of this practice of virtues. I'm looking for another quote to share with you, and I'll share this quote by Mark Twain. So Mark Twain has this quote that says, "The weakest of all weak things is a virtue which has not been tested in the fire." The weakest of all virtues is a virtue that has not been tested in the fire. So testing a virtue in the fire is sometimes being honest when honesty is not so easy. Sometimes being courageous when courage is not so easy. And you will know which areas that either you find the easiest or not easiest, and maybe just write down one and say, this is something that is important to me, and this is something I'm going to practice regularly. I hope you do that for 5 minutes just to set your tone for the day and perhaps the week in your life. And I hope you know, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.